I have no idea what Skeethers is talking about. I'm trying to read. Um, he's a wild card. That's the thing, though. But also, he believes in things that other people don't believe in. Like, this book was written in the 90s. So basically, the fucking prevailing philosophic wisdom is the current prevailing philosophic wisdom. Ow. Like, imagine if you got to Mars with Elon Musk's, like, first 100 and you had to lie about being, like, a fucking anarcho-communist. I'm very sympathetic to the situation here. I'm like, hey, guys, why don't we do one for all and all for one? And everybody's, like, fucking sketchy about it. Like, yeah. Why would you lie? No, I mean, like, recently. It's not way back. Yes, Purple Wayne, that would be the best place. I know Laurie hasn't read ahead. Yeah, I haven't. I'm too innocent. I know. I don't know. I guess at this point, I feel like, I don't know. I'm just like, why wouldn't people agree with me? But in the end, we are just debating our interpretation. Also, I think the discussion has kind of gotten away from me. Giving Arcady plausible deniability is absolutely a scenario I also see happening. Like, I think I'm still, like, looking out for signs that Arcady is in on it, but then he's like, oh, well, they didn't tell me when. They just said someday. Soon. But Arcady isn't popular, so I don't think he's like a leader. He's like what's it called? I can't remember the type of authority that I'm thinking of. The closest I can get is he has like an unofficial, like, but even that's too official. He's definitely a leader. It's a certain type of authority, though. It's where you set an example not by having power, but where you where you have authority from the way that you act. So I actually love this concept, and it sucks that I can't remember the term for it. It's something authority. But not assumed. But anyways, so like let's say you go to your place of work and your place of work has a dress code. That's like like official authority. That's like absolute authority is the dress code. But there's a type of person who, if the dress code says that your hair has to be, okay, like let's say there's a dress code for you're a girl and your hair has to be like at least to your shoulders. And then you come in one day and you have hair to at least your shoulders, but you dyed it blue. What is that? That influences the people around you. They go, "Oh, yeah, she's following the rules." But that's also a rule, is you can break the rules. It's not a trendsetter. I don't know. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this. It's also the way you dress when you go to informal authority. Thank you. Oh my god, that's it. It's informal authority. There's formal authority and there's informal authority. That's the word. That's it. It's not just like that. It's not about pushing the rules either. It's about sometimes you go into a place and the formal authority says you have to have your hair a certain length, you have to dress a certain way. But when you actually go into the place, you see that half of the people working there have their nails painted. Half of the people working there have colored hair. Half of the people have facial piercings. Half of the people have tattoos. That's informal authority. They're not subverting the rules. It's actually just, it's like about the culture, I guess. I don't know. Like, an informal authority is a really interesting position because it's usually not from like the leader. It's not from the CEO or the manager or whatever it is in the situation. It's not usually from the top authority. It's the way that like Greg comes into work. You know, like Greg is allowed to wear pajamas because he's Greg. That's informal authority. Lisa is allowed to dye her hair blue because she has informal authority, even though, you know, it's not against the rules, but it's not really within the rules. It's like, that's informal authority. And then it becomes okay to wear your pajamas, you know, or to like wear pajama bottoms as long as they're clean out to the grocery store. Informal authority. Pajama authority is the majority. So yeah, like somebody who's, but so I guess trendsetter was a good word. I just didn't want to accept it at that moment. But it like trend setting is an informal authority, so they are related for sure. So, anyways, my point is Arcady has informal authority. He's like and he's a wild card. So I forgot, like, I'm so winded already, but like people would totally like agree with him, but then go off their own way. He's a loser. But you know what? He's our loser. And honestly, he should be king. Cheers. And if some of his own people were keeping things from him, that was bad. But if another group had secret plans of its own, that was worse, apparently. Because they were at least interference, and perhaps competition. Or so he seemed to think. He wouldn't say much of this explicitly, but it became obvious in his mutterings and his sudden sharp curses, which were genuine even though they alternated with bursts of hilarity. He couldn't seem to make up in his mind whether he was pleased or angry. And Nadia finally believed that he was both at once. That was Arcady. He felt things freely and to the full, and wasn't much worried about consistency. But she wasn't too sure she liked his reasons this time, for either his anger or his amusement. And she told him so with considerable irritation. "Well, but come on," he cried. "Why should they keep it a secret from me when it was my idea to begin with?" "Because they knew I might come along with you." "You would have told me. Or you would have had to tell me, and if you told me, I would have stopped it." Arcady laughed outrageously at this. So it was pretty considerate of them, after all. Fuck. The bioengineers, Sachs, the people in the quarter who had actually constructed things. Someone in communications, probably. There was quite a few people who must have known. "What about Hiroko?" Arcady asked. They couldn't decide. They didn't know enough of her views to be able to guess what she might think. Nadia was pretty sure she was in on it, but couldn't explain why. I suppose, she said, thinking about it. I suppose I feel there is this group around Hiroko, the whole farm team, and a fair number of others who respect her and follow her. Even Anne, in a way. Although Anne will hate this when she hears about it. Whew. Anyway, it just seems to me that she would know about anything secret going on. Especially something having to do with ecological systems. The bioengineering group works with her most of the time, after all, and for some of them, she's like a guru. They almost worship her. Male harem. They probably got her advice when they were splicing this algae together. So they probably got her agreement for the idea. Maybe I should even say her permission. Arkady nodded. I see your point. On and on they talked, hashing over every point of it. Wow, just like us, chat. On and on they talked, hashing over every point of it. The land they passed over, flat and immobile, looked different to Nadia now. It was seeded, fertilized. It was going to change now, inevitably. They talked about the other parts of Sack's terraforming plan. Or they talked about the other parts of Sax's terraforming plans. Giant orbiting mirrors, reflecting sunlight onto the dawn and dusk terminators. Carbon distributed over the polar caps. Aerothermal heat. The ice asteroids. It was really going to happen, it seemed. The debate had been bypassed. They were going to change the surface of Mars. All right, a preview for next week's reading. Because there's a bit of a gap here. The second evening, after their momentous discovery, as they were cooking dinner in a crater's lee anchorage, they got a call from Underhill. Relayed off one of the comm satellites. "Hey, you two," John Boone said by way of greeting. "We've got a problem." "You've got a problem," Nadia replied. "Why? Something wrong out there?" No. Well, good, because really it's you guys who have the problem, and I wouldn't want you to have more than one. A dust storm has started down in the Claritas Fossae region, and it's growing, and it's coming north at a good rate. We think it'll reach you in a day or so. Yeet storm. Okay, That's it. That's where we're ending tonight. Because this was a lot to process. Thank you. Thank you.